How memorable was the 1986 postseason? Between the playoffs and World Series combined, they account for 3 of the top 10 games on the list, Tom. And this is number 8, Game 5 of the ALCS, Red Sox-Angels.
And, Bob, it's a game that begins with you, Dave Henderson, right here on the bench.
Don't worry. I'll be out there at the end.
Yes, he will. Game 8 coming up.
This has been a wonderful game. What may be one of the more memorable plays of the 80s. What a great series. Woo. 2 out, 9th inning, 5-4. Donnie Moore out of the bullpen to face Dave Henderson. You're looking at one for the ages here. I'm Al Michaels. Welcome to Game 5. The Red Sox are fortunate indeed that it's a best of 7, where this the old days, the way the playoffs were formulated through 1984. It would be over by now, but they're still alive, though they must win 3 straight. And, of course, the mathematics are quite simple. The Angels need win only 1 of 3 to win their first ever American League pennant. I'm joined now by Jim Palmer. I guess the big question today, how do the Red Sox rebound from that agonizing loss?
Well, there really are 2 ways.
Well, first of all, good to see that ABC had ditched those hideous mustard yellow blazers. Al and Jim looking very spiffy in something closer to royal blue. Bob Costas with Tom Verducci, the Red Sox left-hander Bruce Hearst, ultimate hero Dave Henderson, and Bobby Grich of the Angels join us to review Game 8 on our list. It's Game 5 of the 1986 ALCS. Tom, the agonizing defeat that Al was referring to came in Game 4 the night before. Roger Clemens took a 3-0 lead into the 9th inning, and the Angels rallied, eventually won it, Bobby, on your 11th inning single to go up 3-1.
Yeah, I think I snuck one in off of Calvin Schiraldi, as I recall. He was throwing pretty good. He was hitting about 93, 94. Kind of threw an up and in fastball to him and was able to turn over on it and hit to left field. So I felt pretty good about that.
So you're given the assignment of trying to get the Red Sox back into the series. You had won Game 2 at Fenway. Now you're coming back on 3 days rest.
Yeah, I think I threw a nifty 11-hitter, I think is what I called it, up in Fenway Park. So, I mean, our backs were the wall, and we lost a tough, and we had to come back. It was a quick turnaround, too. We were playing kind of a day game and afternoon game after a night game, and I guess there was just nothing to lose.
Now, Dave, you come over with Spike Owen from Seattle in a mid-season deal.
Yeah, I get traded over from Seattle, and I'm just basically a backup player for Tony Armas, a defensive replacement. And I used to get ABs off closers. That's about it.
I think about Gene Mauch. Right. He's 60 years old. How much does Gene play a part in the Angels players' thinking at this point to get to the World Series for Gene?
Well, I don't know that, we knew he had a little history in the Philadelphia days of losing the pennant down the stretch, and he had a little monkey on his back. He wanted to get off of his back. I don't think the players really thought about that too much. I just thought that we were our own team, our own era. I think a lot of us were thinking about Gene Autry. Gene was the great owner that brought the team to Orange County, and was getting on in years. And this was kind of our last stand with this team that we were going to have. I was 37 years old. Reggie was 37 or 38. So we had a lot of veteran players. I think we all felt that this was going to be our last shot. And I don't think we thought too much about Gene Mauch as, this is the one we got to win for Gene Autry, because this is going to be our last chance.
All right, let's take a look at the Red Sox lineup. They're the visiting team. We'll go to them first for this Game 5. These are both pretty much veteran clubs. Wade Boggs won 5 batting titles in a 6-year stretch. This was one of them. You see Tony Armas in center field hitting 8th, and the newly acquired Spike Owen, the shortstop, over from Seattle, hitting 9th. Armas, as Dave Henderson just noted, started most of the time, but Dave was usually available off the bench. You didn't really think so for this game because of something that had happened in Game 4. Let's take a look.
Yeah, this is my at-bat off Corbett, and, you get those token at-bats when you're a backup player. I get hit right in the knee and tear my cartilage. right there, and Doc sees me after the ball game. It's swollen, pretty big as my head, and I figure I'm out for the series.
No way it's that big.
Yeah.
Nothing's that
Yeah, it was big.
So at that point, you're thinking, although you're in uniform and technically eligible,
Sorta.
that you're done for a while.
Yeah, sort of in uniform. I had flip-flops on, no jock, no jersey, just pants and just watching the ball game.
Let's take a look at the Angels lineup. And as Bobby said, this is a veteran team. You look up and down this lineup, Burleson's 35, Downing's 35, DeSensei's 35 at this point. Bobby, you were 37. Reggie is 40, the DH. George Hendrick, 36. Bob Boone, the catcher, 38. So the only relative youngsters in the lineup are Schofield and Pettis. It was kind of a now or never thing, not just for your manager and your owner, but for much of the roster.
Actually, when you went down those numbers, I had no idea we were that old. Like, what were we doing there? How did you survive the season? Man, oh man.
Let's take a look at the pitching pairing. Here it is. Bruce, you were 13-8 for the year. You had a very good postseason, not only the ALCS, but the World Series against the Mets, ultimately. And Mike Witt, who was so nasty at that point in his career, ERA under 3, overall record 18-10 goes for the Angels. Let's watch him work as we pick up the game, top of the second, Witt on the mound, Jim Rice at the plate in a scoreless game to this point.
And hit into right field for a base hit.
So Rice goes the opposite way, and as George Hendrick gets it back in, Don Baylor comes up.
That's what has made him.
And I think going over the hitters meeting, everybody's talked about his breaking ball, the fear of the breaking ball. That curveball was the equalizer, the put-away pitch, and guys were trying to hit the fastball before you got to the breaking ball.
Well, that was a pretty
nice
good
job.
pitch right there.
Yeah, I was going to say, nice job by Rice, especially going the other way, because you can see right here, with his breaking stuff, a nightmare for right-handed hitters.
Yeah, his curveball would start just about at your head. You watch right here. See right? Well, that was actually started lower, but it breaks out of the strike zone. But he could start a curve at your head and would break across into the strike zone. So he was tough. He was definitely our best pitcher that year.
And Rice is at first base. So let's see what the Red Sox do with Jim. They send him, and it's called strike 3, and he's.
Now look at Rice. He gets back. He got such a lousy break. He was close enough to get back to first. He had only one steal attempt all year, and that was unsuccessful. The Red Sox were dead last in the majors with 41 stolen bases. You guys were not exactly rabbits on the base paths.
It wasn't our forte.
Well, you know that's a hit and run right there.
Yeah.
He takes a peek in, and he looks in, and he figures, I got no chance to get down to second, so I better go back.
So Witt has fanned Baylor and Evans after the Rice single, and that leads to this.
And then it's ripped down the line in right field and into the corner and gone. A home run for Gedman.
He actually hit a pretty good pitch because you could see that Witt was working him in because he crowds the plate. Witt was trying to pound him in. I think he went inside one too many times. You know how a hitter, you start to make some adjustments.
Well, I'm just impressed how he kept it fair. A ball running in on you like that, you usually pull it foul.
Didn't have time to hook either. Hit it too hard.
Exactly.
Gedman's a great story, a guy who was not drafted and really was a first baseman pitcher. The Red Sox converted to a catcher, and he winds up having a great career in Boston, replacing essentially Carlton Fisk.
He was a great thrower, too. He threw out over half his runners. That kind of gets lost in the conversation, what a great thrower he was.
So now it's Armas, who started the game in center field for the Red Sox, flying out to Brian Downing in left to end the inning. But here's where we stand. It is 2-0 Red Sox as we go to the bottom of the second. Bruce Hearst back to the mound after this break. Game 5 of the 86 ALCS, Game 8 on the countdown list. Bottom of the second, Bruce Hearst on the mound facing Doug DeSensei. Again, Al Michaels with the call.
2-0 on a home run by Gedman. Boston leads bottom of the second inning. And Doug DeSensei with that home run in the 9th inning that got the Angel rally started. Drives one to center. Boy, is he swinging the bat well.
He was swinging the bat so well. Off me, and everybody, it looks like. But off me, I just never had a place I could go to get him out, it didn't feel like.
Yeah, Doug was swinging the bat real well at this time of the year. He was setting up to right center, not pulling out, hitting the ball to all fields on the line. He had a great swing plane going, too.
A fateful play because Armas hurts his ankle going up against the wall. He stays in for a while, but eventually you're going to have to come out of the dugout.
Well, you see his left foot go up into the wall, and he twists his ankle right there, and then they start looking at me, and I went, wait a minute, I've got a sore knee. I can't go in, but, you know.
You've got shower shoes on. You got to go change.
Well, that's what the clubhouse guys are for. Go get you a jersey and shower shoes.
And Bobby, you go down swinging here against Bruce.
Yeah, that's a nasty little pitch. Now, I faced Bruce a lot of times, and I used to keep a book on all the pitchers and whatnot, and I don't remember you throwing that cut with as much velocity. You had a changeup that you would kind of turn over, but this game in that particular day, I recall you really throwing that cutter with more velocity, and that was the pitch you struck me out on right there. I thought you had a really good game that day.
Good breaking pitch. And no argument from Reggie. He got fooled on the pitch. And
Pretty nasty curveball you threw Reggie there, too. Reggie had only started 3 games against lefty this year, and he has to see that.
I pitched out of a tough little, running on second, nobody out, jam there to get out of that. And, I felt pretty good about that. And that was the kind of thing you want to do to keep momentum in our dugout.
And the Red Sox don't score against Witt in the top half, so we're going to put you right back to work. Bottom half of the third, Hearst against Bob Boone, and again, Al Michaels.
To deep left field, down the line into the corner, and it is gone.
Boone wasn't a real home run threat in my mind. I just wanted, and was, earlier in the game, I just wanted to get a ball over the plate. I didn't think about it taking me deep.
Well, he hadn't hit a home run in 116 at-bats before this, but Boone was a .254 career hitter. In the postseason, though, much better hitter. .311 career hitter in the postseason.
Well, I didn't do anything to stop that, I can tell you that. He had a good day against me this day. This ball's right down the middle in. It's just a perfect batting practice fastball. And he hooked it right down the line. But we were still winning. I'll give up solo shots. I'll take my chances.
Don't want to walk him, that's all.
Yeah, I don't want to walk him.
Make him earn it.
Yeah, and he did.
So now here's Gary Pettis, switch hitter, very fleet-footed, excellent defensive outfielder.
He wasn't supposed to be getting that many hits.
Yeah.
Right. He's supposed to be a great glove guy, great speed, but he was raking during this series.
He was.
He was a lot more disciplined than he was. I think just through the year, he just gotten a little more disciplined. But he was swinging a lot, taking the pitches he should be taking.
Right.
He was 7 for 14 entering the game, so now 8 for 15 in the series. Had a 3-hit game the night before.
And Bobby, you know how Gene Mauch is going to play it here with a runner on first and no outs.
Yeah, it's a bunt. It's small ball.
And from my point of view, I understand about the bunt, but I'll take outs. I can give up 800 feet of fly ball here and still be out of the inning with no runs. So when they bunt for me, I like that.
That's the way Gene Mauch always managed every team he had.
Yeah.
The Angels this year had 91 sack bunts. Nobody else in the league had more than 56.
Bobby, you had played before that for Earl Weaver, who hated to sacrifice.
Right.
Get a couple of guys on, have someone hit one out, and turn it over to the pitching staff.
Rip caught by Boggs. Boom, boom, just like that. Just
I had Dick Schofield popping up right there to Wade.
That away, right at him.
Broke his glove in.
So now, Bruce, you've given up the homer to Boone. Schofield scalded one to Boggs, but you're going to get out of it with only 1 run, as Armas will take this at the edge of the track with Downing flying out.
That's what I'm talking about. A rocket to third and a long fly, and I'm out of the inning. I appreciate the out. So, it doesn't scare me when they put a bunt. In fact, I appreciate it because I only have to I'm always 1 pitch away from getting out of it some way. That could easily double Pettis off a second on that line drive, too. So, I'm not a big advocate. Late in the game, I understand it. Early in the game, well, I'll take the outs.
Okay, bottom of the 4th now. Bruce Hearst back on the mound facing Doug DeCense of the Angels.
And it's 2-1 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Doug DeCense throws one to left center field, but Rice flips the glasses down.
Just missed it, yes.
Yeah, he
got that one.
Right.
I think Palmer said, when I was watching this again, that I got it just enough away, and he got it just enough on the end of the bat. But it wasn't by much.
That was when he needed to take to right center rather than left center.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. It looked too good. He wanted to pull it.
And by the way, I'm 37 years old. I see that bat there. That bat's about at 29.5 ounces. I started my career at 32 ounces. I still couldn't catch that.
Yeah, we used to rag you a little bit when the weight of your bat start going down and down and down.
After 2 Ks, you may be reaching for the fungo bat next time.
I wish they'd do that as pitchers when you get older. Get a lighter ball. Wouldn't that be nice?
You know, I watched that the other day, and my head was looking up. I'm going, why aren't you watching the ball, Grich, you idiot? Pulling out.
Every time Reggie came to the plate, it's like the game sped up. It was just like everything was more magnified. It's like a sound chamber for whatever reason.
Ripped into center for a base hit.
Reggie is 40, as we noted at this point, DHing, hit 241 for the year, but still, if you made a mistake, he could hurt you. He had 18 home runs.
Yeah, he could hurt you, and especially, in the middle end, he still liked to get the head out there and cheat a little bit.
And reputation. I grew up as a kid watching Reggie.
Yeah.
Here it's Reggie who's going to make the mistake. Where was he going?
Did you see something there, Bruce?
No, actually, I knew he wasn't going to run, but I found in my career that the guys who weren't going to run paid the least attention. And so you could have, if you had a good move, and Buckner and I had a little eye contact that we'd put on there, and Bill was a great conversationalist over there. He could kind of get guys a little bit distracted, and when he'd give me that little look, I'd go.
You know, one of the things you notice, not that it matters all that much, but it's one of the joys of doing this, kind of the changes in styles or the quirks of particular players. Silent George Hendrick, who still had a bit of a fro going on, always wore his regular cap and then the batting helmet on top of it. So he had 3 cranial layers. He had the fro, he had the cap, and then he had the helmet.
He didn't need the ear flaps. He had it all covered.
Easy. His nickname was Easy.
Easy.
Yeah.
You know, Reggie and I had a history, and that's what it kind of goes into this. We got into a fight one day, and we were winning. It was a game of the week, and we got into a fight. We were winning like 16-4, and I hit him with a changeup. And Reggie charged the mound, and our catcher, Gary Allison, at the time, got in front of him. Anyway, it was a bloody fight. I mean, there was a few guys who were hurt. And after the game, Reggie's comment was that Bruce Hearst should just be happy he can tell his grandkids he got to face Reggie Jackson. And I never forgot that. So anything that, any of those things like that, I just wanted, of course, what do you think? Once you go tell your grandkids you got picked off first, and he never got me in his books. And I mean, that was a big thing for me. I mean, he hit 570-something, but he didn't get me. And becomes in that day. Not one.
Not one.
He got a couple of hits, and he got a double off the wall one day when it was the Yankees in Fenway.
Had that hook.
But he never got me in the books. But that didn't matter. He got a lot of lefties better than me.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
So, but, that was the history that kind of went into that a little bit.
All right, coming up, Dave Henderson enters the game, and at first, things don't really go all that well.
Carrying and gone. Just off his glove for a home run. What may be one of the more memorable plays of the 80s. Dave Henderson becomes the new Boston center fielder when Tony Armas chased down that double by Doug DeCense in the second inning. He was jarred as he hit the fence. He stayed in the game, but he has come out now, and the Red Sox go to Henderson.
So that was the bottom of the 5th as you entered the game, Dave. The Angels didn't score off Bruce, so it's still a 2-1 game. We'll go to the top of the 6th. Mike Witt working for the Angels. Wade Boggs, the batting champion, at the plate.
Hit into right field for a base
Go down, hit that breaking ball
How
again.
about that pitch? And that's off the ground.
That's off the ground and hits it hard.
Between
That was like
83 and
Vladimir
88, he won 5 of 6 batting titles. And there was a exactly 162-game stretch between June of 85 and June of 86 where he hit 400 on the button for 162 games over 2 seasons.
Barrett lays down a bunt, and it's
Here's
a
Barrett bunting.
And here you have McNamara managing like Mock. He's
Right.
up by a run, trying to run Boggs to second base on the bunt. He's not a fast base runner. And a guy like Barrett who can handle the bat with the middle of the order coming up.
Right. But Marty's a great hit and run guy.
I think he left it up to Marty Barrett to do it on his own sometimes, because Marty sometimes would bunt a guy over if he had trouble with the pitcher in the first inning. So it depends on the pitcher if Marty Barrett wanted to bunt or not.
Easy to understand why he might have problems with Mike Witt.
Of course.
I'm trying to understand what Bogsy's arguing about here, though. I mean, it was a close play, but his foot was on the bag. I mean,
Yeah, I thought he had him. Watch this. I think the ball just beats him by a couple
Barely.
inches. Yeah,
It's called emotion, boys. You always want to be safe for your team.
that's true.
You know?
it's a close play.
Tie goes to me, right?
There you go.
So now it's Buckner after a decisive play by Witt
Yeah.
to
That was
go
a
for the
risky
force
play
at
by
second.
Witt, really. That was
Yeah.
a very risky play.
Yeah.
You know, Burleson was playing second base. I was playing first base, and I couldn't see with that shot, but I had a feeling that Burleson might not have got over to first base on that bunt, and that's why Witt had to go to second.
Yeah, Witt goes to second again.
Yeah.
Witt's bouncing around there.
I'll tell you what, I'd like to have a radar gun on his throws to second base.
It got probably his two best fastballs right there.
Mike was a good athlete. He was a great basketball player at Servite High School. Yeah, he could do it all.
The perfect throw right there.
Yeah.
So Witt has twice cut down the lead runner, which cuts down the chances of the Red Sox scoring here, and their last chance in the inning is Jim Rice.
Singled and struck out. Rice, it's a high fly ball to right
Just missed
field.
that ball, too.
Yeah.
Backs up and nonchalantly
Jimmy had a lot of power to right field, right center. He had the greatest wrists I've ever seen. He could get beat on the ball and just with just sheer quick hands drive the ball out of the ballpark. So, you know, any pitch was game for him. And we saw that. He hit that breaking ball down for a base hit. He could take that ball and drive in the gap, too. He was a tremendous hitter.
So as the Angels come up now in the bottom of the sixth, you're still clinging to just a one-run lead. It's 2-1.
Emphasis on clinging.
Yeah, and before we get to the bottom half of that sixth inning, let's look at this bit of business from Bruce. Prior to the series, he was asked who the toughest hitters for him would be in the Angels lineup.
If there's only one player, it'd probably be DeCinces, and plus he's been so hot the second half too. Grich is a type of player that'll give me problems too. Guys that can put the bat on the ball consistently, don't strike out very often, and have a little power. You know, those are the guys that give, I think, anybody a little, you know, some problems. But it's Grich and DeCinces, the right-handed power of their lineup, are the ones that I really have to concentrate on.
Well, they're both due in the bottom half of the sixth, but first, it's Dick Schofield.
Schofield leads off.
Dick scalds a couple of balls off me.
He did. Yeah.
And, you know,
2-1.
he's an unassuming guy. He's not a real out there guy. He's a great guy, but he hit some balls, just some rockets.
Right there was another line drive right to the
Yeah,
shortstop.
he's thank goodness they're low. That's all I can be thankful
Well,
for.
Bruce, how are you feeling at this point? Because typically you would think on short rest it might start showing up at this point in the game as we get to the sixth.
As I'm watching the game, I've relived it. I can see myself getting a little tired, but I didn't feel tired. There was every once in a while, I still feel like I had a little giddy up. I just get, as I'm watching this, I'm kind of kicking myself because I get a little sloppy with a couple of my breaking balls and a little changeup that I get a little sloppy with. Kind of elevate, like that ball right there is kind of elevated up in the upper third. I got it away enough, but I'm starting to get the ball up a little bit more than I'd like to.
Well, the last couple of innings, you've been using a lot of the ballpark.
I have a lot of the ballpark.
And you're pushing it.
And I got the infielders there, they're a little nervous.
And the thing we all know that this is Anaheim on a day game. So we know it's not going to be a 2-1 ball game. Both sides know that.
Right.
Early in the game,
Wouldn't expect it to be.
Rocky Rowe and I didn't see eye to eye on the strike zone a little bit too. There were some couple pitches that I felt like I had a hard time with my breaking ball, and that's a pretty good pitch right there. I don't care.
Well, he had to reach for that.
He did, and he just flips it out there in no man's land. So I mean, I don't feel bad about that pitch, and it was something soft too. So he's seen the ball real well.
It's DeCinces' second double of the night, or the day. Had a long fly ball mixed in, had a home run the night before, so he's really in a groove.
Right. Well, yeah, I didn't do anything to take him out of it either. So I was hoping I could keep softening the
This
ball
ball
up.
looks like a pop-up off the bat to the opposite field.
Yeah. But that's where he hits the ball. We have scouting reports on Doug, and he has good power to right center, and the ball flies in right center in Anaheim.
Okay, so Bruce, you said if you're going to have trouble with anybody, it would be DeCinces and Grich. DeCinces with the double. Now here's Bobby.
In the last of the sixth. To center field and deep and carrying and gone. But just off his glove for a home run.
As I mentioned earlier, I keep a book on pitchers all the time, and I know looking before the game, I looked at Bruce Hearst, and it said 2-2 curveball, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. I'll never forget this. And so the count went to 2-2, and I said to myself, he's throwing me a curveball, he's throwing me a curveball, he's throwing me a curveball. I'm just talking to myself. I'm trying to tell myself to wait. And I get one.
Dave?
There we go. We have to go back to, remember, my knee was hurt. So when you're running as an outfielder, if you're limping, the ball's going to bounce on you a little bit.
Right.
And that's a ball that I catch 100 times out of 100 times if I'm healthy. But my knee's hurt, and it bounces on me a little bit, hits the heel of my glove, goes out of the ballpark.
In fact, if you don't even touch it, it probably just hits the wall. You actually propelled it over the wall, right?
Yeah, but that's a normal ball that I catch routine.
Sure.
And Bobby throws his helmet down, he's mad. But you know, that's why I'm in the ball game, defensive purposes. I catch that ball. Everybody knows that.
And for you, Bobby, the script isn't finished yet, but at this point, you're the hero. You've hit the home run that's put the team ahead that could put the Angels in the World Series. Did you think about that, hitting the home run?
You know, I did. As I was going around the bases, I had a feeling that that might be it. I mean, I thought that that might be the hit that puts us into the World Series, finally. And so I was elate. I hit third base. I think I jumped up about 3 or 4 feet in the air and hit the third base coach's hand, you know, and I was just thinking as I came in, that could be it for us. That's going to be when the catapult us to the World Series.
Okay, so that made it 3-2. Bases empty, obviously, after the Grich home run. 2 outs. Here's Reggie.
Mr. October.
Not today.
I think it was a 3-pitch at bat, if I remember right. And I needed to bear down. I think one hitter a little sooner might have been a little better for me. But that was kind of the end of the day for me. And you know, killed the threat.
Well, you had gotten him earlier looking with the big sweeping curveball, and there you went upstairs with the heat.
I did, and like Bobby said, I felt like I had a decent little fastball that day for me, and I probably should have used it a little bit more to some of the right-handed hitters. I didn't have a lot of confidence in my fastball into right-handed hitters. I just feel like I had enough sometimes that they could get to it. So I was a little hesitant, but I think I had a little pissed off on that one and put a little extra on it.
Stanley comes out of the Boston bullpen as he picks up for Hearst. McNamara got 6 innings out of Hearst, and especially in light of the way the 6th inning ended, McNamara opting to go to Stanley here in the bottom of the 7th inning.
Meanwhile, on the other side of the coin, Mike Witt is really cruising along now. He had set the Red Sox down in the top of the 7th, so it's still 3-2 Angels. And as Al Michaels just said, Bob Stanley out of the bullpen in relief of Bruce Hearst. First hitter for the Angels, George Hendrick.
And Stanley was hit a little bit this year. He had a 4.6 ERA. Opponents hit .322 against him. The thing about Stanley, as you know, Bruce, generally the ball is hit into play with him. And here he just gets unlucky in this entire inning.
And Steamer had such a great sinker. That's not untypical of him. You know, they're not, when they, you know, if he gets the ball up, they're going to put the ball in place some hard, but they're not going to hit some balls hard in places it can't be, plays that can't be made. That's what happens here. Wade's playing deep.
So Hendrick fast enough to beat it out, but Devon White faster still, and he'll run for him.
About that outfield they brought in there with Pettis in center and Devon and right. I mean, it doesn't matter who plays left. They could have a 2-man outfield and have plenty of coverage.
Ball goes in the air, somebody's going to catch it.
Yeah, it's going to be caught.
And you know what's coming next.
So here's Boone, who has a homer and a single, but Gene Mark's still going to have him bunt.
Now here again, we've got great speed at first base. Here's another instance, same instance. You know, I mean, we're already ahead in the game. You know, we got a chance to put him away.
And a guy who can handle the bat with Boone.
He's a great hit and run guy. Boone was a great hit and run. So I think it was a little conservative here.
Yeah, but they always say don't change anything when you get into the playoffs. He did that all year, so why change in the playoffs?
Big difference. We try to bunt with those 2 guys out. You know, they bunt and they're in there easy. We can't make a play. Speed makes a big difference in the game.
Here's Pettis, turned around to the left side against Stanley and drawing a walk.
Stanley's been watching from the bullpen and knows that.
And if you're in center field now, you've got these 2, you know, deers on base, and the ball's flying in Anaheim. You're thinking, okay, wait a minute, I got to protect these gaps.
Burleson started the game against the left-hander Hearst. Now with Stanley in, Rob Wilfong will bat for Burleson, then stay in the game and play second base.
Steamer never liked left-handed hitters very much. I mean, it was, you know, his sinker. He didn't have a real great pitch to get lefties out.
There's a chopper toward the middle and through off Barrett's glove, being waved in to third. Wilfong to second.
They haven't really hit a ball out of the infield, and they got to run in, and guys on, and you know it's
Right.
a crazy game.
And that little dribbler winds up being scored a double. No error on the play. This was scored a double.
Well, if you look at this play close, it looks like Spike wants to flip it underhand and try to get it to Barrett.
Kind of got blocked. I think Marty lost the ball there for a second when Spike went in front of him.
The ground at home plate in front of, at Anaheim Stadium was real hard. It was that red brick dust, and it would bake during the day games. And you hit a ball in that spot right in front of home plate, just shoot off, which is what happened right there.
Yeah.
Typically, like we were in Boston, that'd be a one hopper right back to your pitcher. But you come off that clay and just boom, just takes off.
Right. We didn't have a lot of rabbits on our team, so we and a short porch. We needed one advantage.
So now the Angels have runners at second and third. First base is open, and as we rejoin it, Dick Schofield is the hitter, but they're going to walk him intentionally.
I can see this play. Steamer's got a great sinker. You know, he's a double play pitcher. He can.
Right.
But you're probably thinking the way Mike Witt is throwing, there's not a lot more you can give up here.
Right.
And still stay in the game.
Exactly. You're playing it like it's the bottom of the ninth inning. You gotta protect every run you can. Every run means something.
And I think that also plays into Gene Mock's theory of playing for the one run, the way that Witt was pitching.
Right.
He's thinking we can just get it to 4-2. The way Witt's throwing, we got a real good shot. So he's playing to that as well.
Right. It would be a lot of work for us to get one run off of Witt the way he's going, let alone two.
They let him swing, and he lifts it to shallow center. Henderson comes racing in and makes the catch. Pettis tags, and the throw is offline, 5-2.
Yeah, I come in on that ball, but, you know, you got Pettis running. You're not going to throw out Pettis, so I just keep the ball down and keep the runners from advancing, basically.
The throw was a little bit up the line toward third, but even a perfect throw might not have gotten him as fast as he was.
No, you're not going to throw Pettis out.
The Sensei now with runners at first and second. Nice stop by Boggs from his knees to Barrett.
Boggs with a good play to keep it at 5-2.
Now that was we've been on second and third, or first,
and second.
Well, that's a run right there. I mean, Boggs makes really a run-saving play.
Right.
I mean, now if he doesn't make that play, it's what, 6-2, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was to me that right there. I think a 4-run lead going in, even though the guy scored 4. Even I think psychologically, we get another hit there at 6-2. I think it's over.
You guys have to be thinking, if only we held on to the lead last night. The worst that can happen is we go back to Fenway down 3-2. We had Roger on the mound up 3-0 in the 9th inning. This is really galling at this point, right?
It's just hard to imagine. You know, all of a sudden we're stuck in this position, and we lost a tough game the night before. I mean, it was a heartbreaker. So you know, and Witt he looks like he's bulletproof out there. So it doesn't look good for us right now.
And Bobby, you delivered the winning hit in the 11th inning in the comeback in Game 4.
Right.
You got the hit, the home run that gave them the lead in this game.
Right.
Now it's 5-2. You got to feel that everything's going your way. You're destined to go to the World Series.
Oh yeah, I was starting to think about the Mets lineup. You know, I'm thinking, okay, how am I going to play Ray Knight? You know, I mean, seriously, I thought we were there. I'm looking around at all the fans and thinking about that champagne, how good that was going to taste. I mean, I think we felt we were in the driver's seat. I mean, no doubt about it.
All right, the Red Sox need 3 to tie. They go to their bench in the top of the 8th with Mike Greenwell, the pinch hitter. Devon White staying in the game after pinch running for Hendrick and playing right field. And there's Wilfong at second.
Angels had a good bench, and they had some good-looking young players, and had some good lefty bats. They had some good matchups.
And this is a good bat for the Red Sox to bring off the bench. A young Mike Greenwell, terrific hitter.
Great hitter.
And this turns out, I thought, to be an important play here when he gets this hit.
About that bat speed right there. Yeah. Just cleared out.
You know, that looks like a double. And
normally it would be a double, but we're down by a couple, and he wanted to play it slick.
Exactly. He played it a conservative way. Pettis gets the ball in very quickly.
He did.
But the downside to this, Dave, is that now the double play is still in order.
That's where that speed makes such a big difference. The speed that they brought in the game or had in the game changed our game a lot.
Yeah. Slow, but Romero's going to come into the game anyway as the new shortstop, and he's faster than Greenwell, so you might as well pinch run for him here.
But still, you like our chances here. Boggs at the plate. You know, you don't want to get thrown out at second.
Hit sharply to short. Schofield to Wilfong to Grich.
Things are really going your way, Bobby.
Things are getting loud. Everybody's really starting to feel it. You know, you can even see when I got the ball, I got a little excited and, you know, pointed the ball at Scully out there. So everybody's really starting to pick up here.
As Boggs
it's getting
gets into the 6-4-3, you're now 4 outs away.
Yeah.
Perfect. I mean, if you're going to talk about the tailor-made double play ball, hit by a guy that hurt his ankle the night before, can't run as well.
Marty's figuring something out here, though. I can tell you that.
Half swing pop-up. Wilfong. Woo! He catches it, and the Angels are 3 outs away from the American League pennant as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Ed Romero staying in the game. He is the Boston shortstop as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Grich, Jackson, and White facing Stanley. 5-2 California in Game 5. To second.
Little sinker low and away, trying to go the other way with it. On the outside part of the plate, ball just had a good sink and hard to get underneath that ball. I mean, you're going to hit a ground ball somewhere. I was hoping to get it in the hole over there.
He's got to get a ball up to get the ball out of it, to get the ball in the air.
Yeah.
He didn't like facing Reggie. I know that. About that pitch.
So Reggie was 1 for 4 at that point, had the single up the middle and 3 Ks. Devon White's first at bat after entering the game as a pinch runner and defensive replacement.
I thought these guys were trying to make out so they can go celebrate real quick.
They don't want the champagne to get too cold. So.
Yeah, there you go.
There's that hard spot in front of the plate again.
You know, Bruce, you were talking earlier about what a good throwing arm Rich Gedman had. With Devon White aboard, you're about to see it.
Maybe that explains all the bunts that Mock put on early in the ballgame.
Getty doesn't get talked about as to.
Well, it's a pitch out.
Pitch out.
But look at the throw. And he can fly, and that ball's right on the money. And you know, with something on it.
Even with a pitch out, the only way he's going to get him is with a perfect throw.
Perfect throw,
Had
right.
to be a perfect throw, otherwise he's safe.
Look where Marty just fields this ball. It's almost like it's like infield practice.
So that keeps it at 5-2, but now you're down to just 3 outs, and the security personnel are already beginning to ring the field.
Right.
There's that sense of, let's just get through this and then let the celebration begin. It might spill all the way over into Disneyland.
Right. I'm probably exaggerating when I said earlier I'm thinking about the Mets already. I was exaggerating because, you know, I had a lot of respect for this team. I mean, I'm not thinking the champagne's totally on ice, but we are starting to get excited. All right, and if you look into the dugouts, the Orange County Sheriff's Department had all their biggest bulls in there. I mean, guys about 6'3", 220 that had lined both dugouts ready for all the crowd to come on the field. I mean, they even had horses, I think, out in the bullpen ready to come on. You know, and so everybody was ready, and it was just the stage was set, and we just thought 3 outs and it's over. We're on our way.
We're going to see it when we come back, and what we'll also see is Bill Buckner in the middle of a dramatic rally, and this time for all the right reasons.
As we go to the top of the 9th inning, Buckner, Rice, and Baylor with Witt on the mound and security at the ready.
As you look at Witt there briefly, he threw 14 complete games. He threw during the regular season close to 270 innings, and as we've often noted, it's a different era. No matter how well he was pitching, if it were today, you go to the bullpen. You go to whoever your closer is, it's automatic. In this case, Gene Mauch is looking at Mike Witt to finish the deal.
He may not have pitched the 8th. I mean, in today's game, he might have been out after 7 the way he was going. But, you know, it was a different era. Pitchers, you went 9 innings. That was just what you did. And, I mean, it's hard to imagine anybody being better on that team than Mike Witt.
All right, here we go. Top of the 9th, last chance for the Red Sox, down by 3. Buckner faces Witt.
Toward the middle and by the diving Schofield, who just missed it. And Buckner is really hurting.
And you hear Al talk about Buckner's really hurting. He hasn't yet gone to the infamous high tops. But watch him as he gets out of the box here. I mean, he can barely move.
Well, he had 2 bad ankles and 1 bad knee, and he was just basically going up there as a pinch hitter at that time. He knew he was going to be pulled out of the ball game.
You know, Witt missed that ball by an inch. I mean, the ball gets just by his glove, and his glove covers where the ball was just right after that.
I mean, you have to give our guys credit, too. We're not going to go down easy. You know, he's pitching a great game, and our guys are digging in, and nobody wants to make the last out.
Right.
Donnie Moore, the right-hander. Gary Lucas, the left-hander, in Mark's bullpen.
It's paint.
And a called 3rd strike to Jim Rice.
That's paint.
Especially when he's got that curveball in the back of your mind.
Right.
And right now, right-handed hitters in this game are 1 for 17 against Witt. Until this.
To left field, left center, and deep. Pettis goes back, leaps, and she's gone. And it's 5-4. What a great series. Woo.
Donnie's strong. He is one strong man. He's right on the dish, too. He doesn't give up any ground.
Right.
And Donnie's an old veteran. He went up there looking for a breaking ball. He knows Witt, that's his main pitch, and you look at where this pitch is, off the plate away, and that ball's not supposed to be hit to left center out of the ballpark.
And that's a full count pitch. It's a 3-2 pitch.
Yeah. That was a 3-2 count, too?
Yeah.
Amazing piece of hitting.
That was great
You just have
hitting.
to tip your hat. I mean, that's all there is to it. Witt made a great pitch, 3-2
Yeah, you
count.
got a curtain call. Well, he didn't get a curtain call, and neither did Dave. You got the curtain
See
call
all those
when you hit
cops in the
yours.
dugout?
You see him?
Yeah. All those cops in the dugout?
So Stapleton, the pinch runner for Buckner, scores ahead of Baylor. It's a 1-run game. And now, as you're watching from the dugout, having been taken out of the game, now how has the atmosphere changed?
It's, you know, it was the loudest I've ever been. And like we were just talking about, there were cops everywhere. And the memory that I have the most is I remember looking over in the Angels dugout, and I remember Reggie and Gene hugging. You know, and that stuck with me. I've never forgotten at that time.
I think Reggie hugged Gene rather than the other way around.
You got a point. But you know, I don't know. There was just a feeling of like, this ain't over yet.
Yeah.
Well, Dwight Evans is the next hitter, home run threat, but Mark is going to stick with Witt, at least for the time being.
Popped up. The sensei calls. 1 out to go.
All right, 1 out away, and now Mark has to pull Witt because Gedman's got 3 hits. Look at all the security guys coming out, 1 out away.
Now, you
But
say he has to pull.
I know,
we
I was
looked at
thinking
you and
about
said, we don't think he has to.
Here's why he has to. Gedman has 3 hits off of them, including a home run and a double. And Lucas, the left-hander, is on the team for this reason and this reason only, and he had a good history against Gedman.
I think you got him out
We
the
don't
day
agree.
before, too.
I think he bounces 4 curveballs and take his chances.
Listen to the crowd. The crowd did not want Mike Witt out of this game. It was
No
his
way.
game. He's at 121 pitches.
It doesn't matter.
And Dave Henderson, I know you know the history between you and Mike Witt.
And no
He
chance.
can pitch around Gedman and get to you.
Yeah, I bounce 3
But if he
curveballs.
pitches around Gedman, he puts the tying run on base.
Doesn't matter.
And Lucas struck Gedman out the night before.
Yeah. And
Just saying.
Lucas actually has faced Gedman 3 times in his career and has struck him out 3 times.
There you go.
So Mark knew that. Mark knew the stats. I mean, so, you know, I mean.
Sometimes you can get overblown with stats. You know that.
You're right. That's why I said he was more of a stat than a field player.
Look out. Oh, got hit on the hand on a pitch in on him. So Lucas comes in to face one guy because now you've got Henderson, and Gedman gets hit by the pitch.
Gary Lucas had not hit a batter in 1,383 plate appearances.
No way.
He comes in and throws 1 pitch.
Seriously?
Right at his head.
That is true.
I can't believe it. I never heard that stat
His
before.
first and only pitch. Mark lets his pitching coach make the pitching changes, go to the mound, and they'll bring in Donnie Moore.
And I remember saying to myself, okay, Bob, you're the manager here. What do you do? And I recalled that he had struck him out the time before. And I said, you know what? I make the same move. I remember saying that to myself. I know you don't agree, but I really did. I said, if you make your call right, don't call it after whatever happens. Make your call now. And I said, you got to make the move. That was my opinion.
If you're a guy who's going to go by the book the book says make this move.
Right.
You know, Gedman had hammered Witt in the game. Lucas had struck him out, as you said, all 3 times he'd ever faced him.
Right.
Except Lucas wasn't really a kind of guy to close a game.
Right.
You know, it's one thing to come in and get a lefty out in the 7th inning. It's another, go get me the out that puts me in the World Series.
I'm with you.
There's a big difference between the 23rd out and the 27th out.
Yeah.
There you go. Right. You know, another little interesting footnote here is in 1982, in the playoffs against Milwaukee, Mock did the exact opposite. He stayed with Luis Sanchez against Cecil Cooper, and Cooper got a hit that beat us, instead of going to bullpen and bringing in Andy Hassler.
Okay.
And so he actually made a call by feel and got burned on it in '82. And everybody ripped him. Oh, you should have brought the left-hander in. You should have brought the left-hander in. So now he brings the left-hander in. That didn't work either. I mean, what are you going to do, right?
The very definition of damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah.
In baseball.
You're right.
And damn it if it isn't Dave Henderson at the plate against Donnie Moore when we come back.
Damn you.
All right, here we go. Angels lead the series 3-1, 1 out away from the World Series. But the Red Sox have scored twice in the top of the 9th. Man on, 2 out. Dave Henderson at the plate. Donnie Moore out of the bullpen for the Angels trying to finish it.
This has been a wonderful game.
It's kind of an understatement, isn't it?
Yeah. Remember, Donnie had a sore shoulder, or Donnie Moore, and he comes in and actually he throws good to you.
Yeah. Well,
Wham.
this fastball right here, I can't even get the bat off my shoulder.
Great pitch.
Like they say, can't get the gun out of the holster, and
Right.
he throws it right by me.
Your
You know.
previous at-bat in this game, you strike out on 3 pitches against Witt.
Those are curveballs, though. I had no chance on those. Look at this fastball.
No.
That's some gas.
It's by me.
That's low 90s.
I know.
You know, I mean, maybe 94, 95, I don't know.
So,
1 and 2.
Are you recalling, as the count goes to 1 and 2, that the first time you ever faced Donnie Moore as a Mariner, you homered off him?
yeah, I remember in June, I hit a home run in the 9th inning. It was a slider, though. So, you know, we got the veteran Boone back there. He probably remembers that, too. He's not going to throw me a slider in this situation. So I'm thinking fastballs. He just threw the ball by me 3 times.
Right. Counts 2-2 here, right?
2 and 2.
2, 2.
Yeah. Splitty.
Still 2 and 2.
Splitty, right?
Yeah, split finger
Split
fastball.
finger.
I'm right on it. I thought I should have hit that pitch.
Fastball.
That fastball, that's where I'm catching up now.
Right.
As in,
Right.
And then Boone knows that. I feel like I should have hit that ball hard, and I'm thinking that was my pitch to hit right there. I'm in big trouble. I missed my pitch.
Right.
To left field and deep and down he goes back and it's gone. Unbelievable. You're looking at one for the ages here. Anaheim Stadium was a strike away from turning into fantasy land. And now the Red Sox lead 6-5.
It went from everybody, I mean, 60,000 people yelling and screaming to I'm not sure there was anybody except you guys in the dugout making noise.
That's the only thing
Because
we
when you
can
hit
hear.
the home run and you came around first base, it got so quiet, you gave like a little yelp. When you came back, you went, "Ee-hee." And I could hear that. I could hear that right now as it's happening. Hey,
Well,
look
I
at
hit
the
a
jump
pretty
right
good
here. Look at that.
Well, he doesn't quite stick the landing because of his knee.
Yeah, my right knee's kind of buckled, but
You know, just like Witt's pitch to Baylor, that is not a bad pitch by Donnie Moore. Not a bad pitch at all.
Dave, you were down to your last strike of the season, not just the game. Take me around the bases. What are you thinking?
well, before that, I stepped out on a 2-2 count, and I looked at all the guards and stuff on the field, and I figured the first thought was, when I strike out, how am I going to get to the dugout? And then I paused and I said, oh, I got a bat in my hand. I'm okay. So, and then I got back in the batter's box and, you know, hit the home run. And I'm going around the bases. And as Bobby knows, it doesn't look like it takes that long to get to home plate. You go from first to home really quick. And all of a sudden, you're thinking, I'm the hero. I hit the home run to put us in the World Series. Back in the dugout, and everybody mauls you.
And on the other side, you look at Gene Mauch, and he barely flinched. His expression, you couldn't tell, was just exactly the same as when you were on the verge of winning the game. You know, no matter what was going on inside,
Yeah.
outwardly he wasn't going to let on.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't want to show anybody up. That was a class of who he was. You know, you're not going to throw your hands up and make Donnie Moore look bad or whatever the case may be. I mean, let's face it, he hit a great pitch. A pitcher makes a good pitch. A guy hits a tough pitch. You can't blame the pitcher for it. You can't blame Donnie Moore for that. It's not his fault. It was his great accomplishment.
Of course, the impression is that this game has now been won by the Red Sox after Dave's home run. Not so fast. Donnie Moore stayed in. He got Ed Romero to fly out to end the inning. So we go to the bottom of the ninth. Bob Stanley in his third inning of work now, trying to close the deal and facing Bob Boone.
Bob Stanley needs 3 outs.
And a base hit to left center field, and Henderson.
How many hits did the catchers get in this game?
Boone was 3 for 3 with a sacrifice.
I mean, Getty was 3 for 3 or 4 for 4.
On base
wasn't
5 times.
Gedman was 4 for 4.
With a hit by pitch.
And Rupert Jones, so they'll root for Roop and Boone for Boone as he comes off. Rupert Jones.
Here comes Root, the guy I replaced in Seattle. So we got a connection there.
What are you thinking here now, Bobby? Got a guy on base. Got a shot.
Yeah, definitely got a shot. We've got life. Good speed at first base. Probably going to bunt him over.
Good guess, Bobby. Good guess, Bobby.
How's that for taking a big stab at one?
I know.
Perfect bunt. We can bunt, you know. We worked on
A lot of practice at it.
Yeah, a lot of practice at it. Definitely part of our arsenal.
And now McNamara is going to go to the bullpen for Joe Sambito. Wilfong at the plate. Let's let Al Michaels take it from here.
Hit sharply by Barrett for a base hit. Evans can throw. Jones is coming home. The throw home is there. No, he's safe.
That ball kind of handcuffed Getty right at the end, or if it's just a little bit shorter on the grass, there's a really good chance he makes that play.
Well, I thought that was a very aggressive send by Moose Stubing there with 1 out and one of the best arms in baseball in right field. And you're right, Bruce, there's a little bit of a short hop that Getty has to get his hands back to catch, so it's tough to catch and tag quickly.
And look at Rupert Jones, though. That's a good slide in that situation because he's pulling himself as far away from Gedman as possible and coming back with the left hand to swipe the back part of the plate.
Right. It's pretty much a ground ball for the infield. If it's a line drive to right field, that could have been the difference, and he might have been thrown out. Because the ground ball gives him maybe one more step.
So you got to give Dewey a lot of credit for making this even close, really.
He made a great throw.
Look at that. He's just had an unbelievable arm. Right on line.
That's a great at-bat by Wilfong.
Yeah.
Steve Crawford, who has not pitched in this series, here he comes into a situation in the 9th inning. Dick Schofield 0 for 3 plus an intentional walk. So the winning run at first base. The pennant is at first base. Wilfong.
Schofield finally got something to show for his line drives all day long, unfortunately.
Well, this is where we thought we were in big trouble. You know, first and third, 1 out, and we thought this run was going to score, and it's a, game over.
So even with first base occupied, walking Downing to set up the 4 set any base, and now a sacrifice fly wins the pennant.
And I guess because Schiraldi has worked a lot, McNamara is prepared to end his season without getting his closer in the game here.
That may be, and what happened the night before with a tough loss, that may have played something into it too, and also to bring him into a bases-loaded situation. Steve at least thrown a few pitches and was kind of created his own mess.
And you got the sensei here, who's been swinging a hot bat.
Popped up, shallow right field. Wilfonger's tagging, but it's just a shallow fly ball. Evans makes the catch, and they can't take the chance. 2 down. Gigantic out.
Steve had great stuff. I mean, he had a hard sinker. He threw hard. He had a good slider. He had pretty good stuff.
Your chance to be the hero again.
Yeah. I hadn't faced Crawford. Didn't know too much about him, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm just saying to myself, make the ball be up, because I know he had a sinker. He ran the ball in on DeCinces a little bit there. I'm just saying, make sure it's up. Make sure it's up. And that was right down the middle. He ran it in on me.
We go to the 10th if you can take it.
Boy, talk about a pulse-pounding game. poor Donnie Moore. In a highlight reel world, all anybody sees is the pitch that you hit out. And everybody agrees it wasn't a bad pitch. He works the top of the 10th, and he gets the Red Sox out. So now, bottom of the 10th, after a Reggie Jackson ground out and a Devon White strikeout, Jerry Narron bats against Steve Crawford.
And what a spot for Crawford. I know Bruce, you say he's got good stuff. He hasn't pitched in a week. He had no wins during the regular season. That's a lot of pressure on a guy.
It was a lot of pressure, and my hat's off to Steve, because he went out there, he put it all behind him, and he just stayed on what he needed to do. He just went and attacked guys and just trusted his stuff. And this day, it was more than enough.
So here comes Gary Pettis, who doesn't have a whole lot of power. And he's going to hit the ball the opposite way.
Narron goes. It's hit in the air to deep left field. Deep left field, right to the fence. And he makes the catch. And had to look down to make sure.
If he doesn't catch that ball, the series, and for the Red Sox, the season is over.
Well, he doesn't believe it's going that far because the ball is 64,000 people. It's flying.
But there's something else that comes into play here, and I've spoken with Al Michaels about this, and Al is really a stickler for detail, and he recalled that the night before, among his 3 hits, was an opposite field double, batting left-handed, by Pettis that went over Rice's head. So probably because of that, Jim was playing a step or two deeper than he ordinarily would be against a relative slap hitter like Pettis, batting left-handed. And he needed that extra step to get back to the wall and make the catch.
Interesting, because you wouldn't expect Rice to be that deep on Pettis at all.
To the opposite
in fact,
field.
I didn't remember that. I mean, that ball is that far from being out. And I'm thinking to myself, how does Rice even catch that ball? But that explains it. Good point.
When we come back, Mr. Henderson will do it again, but this time with an out. On to the 11th, and Donnie Moore still on the mound for the Angels. First hitter for the Red Sox, Don Baylor.
And he got hit.
You know, Donnie Moore's getting a little tired to me here. As I said, he struggled the second half of the season. Typically, like in today's world, if that's your closer, he's gone after the 1 inning. You know, he's into his third inning or whatever, you know, of pitching here. See, and this is not what he's used to. He rarely went more than 1 inning the entire season for us.
And he was going through some shoulder problems, too.
And he was going through some shoulder problems on top of that. So
he mentioned his shoulder. He actually wasn't right since the early part of the season. And actually, they sent the pitching coach out to check on him to make sure he was okay. That's the level of concern.
Right.
So Evans follows with a single up the middle.
And Bobby, you've got Gedman up now, first and second. What are you thinking about the possibility of a bunt?
How many outs do we have here?
Nobody.
Nobody out.
No outs. I mean, you got to think they're bunting. And see, I think he goes out and asks him how he's feeling.
Yeah, because
Donnie insisted he wants to stay in. And he was a gamer.
And he's around to bunt. And he bunts in the air up the line. And it's a fair ball. DeCinces fields and pulls Wilfong off. And everybody's safe.
That's not Getty's forte.
That can't be his forte.
He doesn't have the finesse part of the game.
But that
sometimes.
day, everything's working for him. So it scored a hit, and he's 4 for 4, plus being hit by a pitch in a key spot.
And he beats out the throw. Even if he makes the throw, if throws it on line, I think Getty beats the play.
Yeah, and I'm glad he's safe because I'm up next, and they probably walked me to load the bases.
Makes an off-balance throw. It's a
Right.
bad one. Bases loaded.
Okay, so the last time you faced Donnie Moore, you're a strike away from elimination. Here, the game is tied, but you're in the driver's seat. Bases loaded, nobody out.
Yeah, that's the key. I know I don't have to, like, struggle. All I do is put a ball in play and take my chances. And I started to get the timing down as he threw me all those fastballs in my last AB. So I was very, very confident going to this at-bat I can get a sac fly.
And it's drilled to the gap in left center field, deep enough to score a run. Pettis makes the catch. Baylor tags. Red Sox lead 7-6.
Actually hit that ball pretty good. I thought it was going to be a gapper. And Pettis runs it down.
So in 36 games for the Red Sox, you had a homer and 3 RBIs. In your last 2 at-bats, you've got a homer and 3 RBIs.
Well, timing's the way it works. Hit 'em. It's not how many hits you get, it's when you get them. That's the way baseball works. And I was just on the stage at the right time. And a sac fly, I figured I could always get a sac fly, put the ball in play.
The next hitter is Ed Romero in a game that doesn't just have an exciting conclusion or the big moment where you hit the homer, but has so many amazing plays. Here comes another one. Ed Romero at the plate.
And this is a play, for whatever reason, I remember this play as much as anything that happened in this game, and I don't know why.
He's 4 for 4 today. And Romero hits one to deep left field. And Romero, and what a catch by Philly!
Just an unbelievable catch.
This is a catcher converted to an outfielder who makes an astounding play out there.
Yeah, Downing was incredible for us in left field. I mean, he set an American League record for consecutive airless games for a left fielder after converting out there. He's just made himself into a great hitter, and he made himself into a great left fielder. The times that I played with Brian, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years, whatever the case may be, I saw that play a lot of times. Okay, he took on just about any fence anywhere.
And that's it for Moore, and they'll shower him.
It's like a great heavyweight fight.
Finally, they take the ball from Donnie Moore, and the boos rain down.
Yeah, see, that's really unfair. Really unfair. I mean, he was our one-inning closer. He threw good pitches to Dave. Dave hit a good pitch. He did his job. I mean, in normal situations, he's out of there. Doug Corbett's in. Don Sutton's in. Somebody else is in after the inning.
How about Chuck Finley?
Chuck Finley would have been terrific. He was a hard-throwing rookie, had a great year for us. He 6'7", throwing about 94 with all kinds of movement on it. Finley would have been a great guy to bring in, because another thing to bring Finley in is that you guys don't know him. Haven't faced him very much, but he could bring it.
Finally, somebody else is in there, and it is Chuck Finley. And one more great defensive play gets the Angels out of the top of the 11th without further damage as we head to this break.
This game is about 3 hours and 50 minutes old, and you want it to go on forever. Hit sharply, great stop by Wilfong. Throws it out. Oh, sure, just another routine play. Boston 7, California 6. Wilfong to lead off in the bottom of the 11th.
All right, the Red Sox again have a lead, and again they are 3 outs from prolonging the series and sending it back to Boston for Game 6. Calvin Schiraldi gets the call.
And gets Wilfong here.
You like to see that, Bruce. What's the confidence level with Schiraldi at this point? He had the tough game the night before. This is his 3rd straight game now working.
He has a great fastball this day, and it was tough on him. And the night before, it was a tough loss, and he came out here and just, this is the dominant inning. He's blowing guys. If he strikes out the first 2 guys, and look at him with the fist pump, he's got a little fire in his eye right now. This means something to Cal, more than I think anybody else.
So he dispatches Wilfong and Schofield, and now it's Downing.
7-6 Boston. Popped up. Here comes Stapleton. Next plane to Boston.
Next plane to Boston, yes. Much different flights for the Red Sox and Angels. You guys trail 3-2, and yet I'm thinking when you get on the plane, it almost feels like you're ahead in the series.
It did to me. I remember going back to Fenway Park, and on the plane, I felt like we're going to win this thing.
What did the cross-country flight feel like for the Angels?
It was not a good flight. We came into the dugout, into the clubhouse after that game, and you can imagine being so deflated, just like, you got to be kidding me. I've never forgotten this game. I've never gotten over this.
How could you?
You can't. It'll be with me forever. I think about what we could have done for Gene Autry, all the fans. I'll tell you what was really great was when the Angels won in 2002. It kind of took this game away for me, in a way, for the fans and everybody in Anaheim. We finally did it.
Well, the Red Sox won Games 6 and 7 by a combined score of 18-5 behind Oil Can Boyd and then Roger Clemens to go on to the World Series. What was it like afterwards, and specifically, what was it like for Mock?
Yeah, that was a bad memory. I don't like thinking about that locker room, to be very honest with you. It was ugly. It just was not good. Nobody wanted to talk. Everybody just kind of had their heads down, and it was like, You don't want to talk about it. Let's just get out of here and see if we can't just look towards forgetting this as quick as possible.
Donnie Moore. I mean, his arm really was never the same after this. 3 years later, he's actually in Triple-A on the same team Steve Crawford is on, the winning and losing pitchers in this game. He gets released out of Triple-A, and it wasn't long after that he took his own life. And a lot of people, including his agents, have speculated he never quite got over this Game 5 of the ALCS. Now, Donnie obviously had some other things going on in his life, but Dave Henderson, the connection between you and Donnie Moore will be there forever. Your thoughts about Donnie Moore?
Well, it was unusual because 2 years later, I was playing a ball game, and Don Baylor came to me in the second inning of a ball game and said, that Donnie Moore had committed suicide, and it just hit us all like a ton of bricks. And and they tried to make the connection to me, and I said, wait a minute here. I did my job. That's all I did. And it was weird because I go to restaurants today, and people whisper, "That's a guy that killed Donnie Moore," and it's kind of weird. So
more than weird, it's sick and stupid.
Right, it's stupid. But that's one thing I wanted to clear up with this. Nothing to do with baseball. He had other problems. That's why he killed himself.
Now, you guys have won one of the most memorable games, number 8 on our list. You go on to the World Series. Bruce, you won your first 2 starts in the World Series. And in fact, the voting had already closed as the Red Sox took the lead in Game 6 at Shea Stadium in the 10th inning. You'd been voted the MVP of the World Series on the strength of those 2 victories. And then, of course, the Mets rallied and won. We'll see that later on in the countdown. You came back and pitched Game 7, had a 3-0 lead, left, I think, after 6 with the game tied 3-3. So you're this close to putting a ribbon on a great, great season, both the LCS and the World Series, ending the curse this close.
Yeah, I don't think you can come any closer to winning and still lose. I think that line for us in that World Series is just razor thin. And I always thought that club was going to get back again. I really did. I just had such great feelings about that team, but it was just not to be.
Well, you got to the playoffs again, won the division again in '88 with essentially that same team. And Dave, not nearly as well remembered as the homer in Anaheim, but you hit a home run in the top of the 10th at Shea Stadium in Game 6 that gave the Red Sox the lead that they couldn't hold in the bottom half.
I think it's one of those things like when you're a little kid in your backyard, the game's tied, you're in the 7th game of the World Series, you get to hit the home run. That's exactly what I did. And Mel Stottlemyre was the pitching coach, and he was my coach in A-ball. And he went out and talked to Rick Aguilera at that time, and I said, he knows me like the back of my hand. I got no chance. And game tied, hit the home run, and I always think that's the biggest home run of my career right there.
But this is the one, obviously, that gets remembered, and specifically the video of your reaction as the ball goes out of the park, the jumping, the pirouette. You did a lot of great things in Seattle, then later on with Oakland and a championship there. But this home run, does that define you as a Boston Red Sox?
Well, as a Red Sox, of course, but not as a ball player, because I think I've hit a lot of home runs in my career that decided ball games in World Series and things like that. But I'm always associated with this one home run off Donnie Moore.
Talk about bittersweet. All 3 of you experienced it that October in 1986. Thanks to all of you. This was terrific.
All right, thanks.
All right. Game 7 next time as we continue the countdown on the 20 greatest games of the last 50 seasons. For Tom and Bobby and Dave and Bruce, I'm Bob. Thanks for joining us.
The Angel Red Sox series was so fabulous in so many ways, and the Game 5 was just, it was epic. And the signature of my career is always going to be Lake Placid. But the most fun I've ever had doing a game in any sport was the 5th game of that series.
To left.